He has been so razor sharp focused.
It's a Faraday cage. It protects the camera against EMPs. All I know is something's going on, and I don't think it's human related.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Tyler Martin-Olich, Film Commissioner for Hillsborough County. For those tuning in, you just watched the trailer for the new sci-fi thriller Skyman, directed by Dan Myrick. Joining us today are producers Joe Restaino and Anthony Pernicka. Anthony is also the CEO of iHorror.com, the premier spot to stay caught up on the latest horror news, reviews, and movie releases. Also joining us is Josh Noftz. Anthony Pernicka is partner in crime at iHorror and also a crew member on Skyman. We'll be talking to these guys about their experience filming Skyman and why they're relevant to Tampa Bay. It's shot in part in Hillsborough County or the greater Tampa Bay area. And you guys are also all residents of the Bay Area as well. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Hey.
Hello. Good morning,
Tyler.
I appreciate you guys. Joe, we'll start with you. I don't think any of us would have thought that drive-ins would make the comeback that they have. Reading a couple of articles this morning, the only profitable theatrical venues for the months of April and May were actually drive-ins. You've produced a lot of movies. You've had a lot of distribution for these films. Have you, in your wildest dreams, ever thought that you would release a movie in today, 2020, through a drive-in?
Man, I mean, as we all know, it's been a crazy first half of the year. I think a couple months ago, the Pentagon released some footage of, UFOs that they, never been seen before, and that was the most normal thing of the year so far. We knew we kind of had something, and then this last week is World UFO Day. Actually, something just popped up on my Facebook today of us shooting this film at Roswell. There's a picture of me with R2-D2 at the Roswell UFO Festival. So doing drive-ins, I mean, Dan, he always felt like this film should be seen under the stars, and it kind of it worked out. I mean, we were anticipating, regardless, before all this, releasing the film around now, and then all this happened, and it just worked out well for this type of movie. I went to the drive-in in Lakeland. It showed in Ocala and also Lakeland in Florida. And it was the first drive-in I've probably been in since Terminator when I was a kid. But the amount of people that are there, I mean, they're getting 500 cars on the weekends. And it was just a perfect setting for this type of film. So I could see people popping up little screens in their backyard and watching this movie, because it's that's the type of movie it is. And it worked out well.
And we were talking before we started the recording with Anthony that this is also playing in normal theaters. And just looking at a couple of the local theaters where Skyman's playing, Skyman is the only new release currently playing in a lot of these theaters. And here we are in July, which is normally the box office dump for the summer where all the big Hollywood movies come out. What's it like being the only new movie in traditional theaters?
Yeah, I mean, we went to the one over in Seminole. It was cool. It's cool to see it on the big screen. I mean, we were so excited that we were going to play, and the guys could talk more about it. We were going to play the Gasparilla Film Festival locally, the Sunscreen Film Festival. We were doing a whole big tour, and we premiered it at Austin. So, I mean, the audiences like it, and being the only, new release, hey, I mean, we'll take it, I mean, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. So along those same lines, Anthony, we'll turn to you. As someone who covers horror movies, there's really no good thing to say about the current COVID circumstances, but with Hollywood pushing most of their new releases, or what would have been new releases for the summer, into the fall or into 2021, has this allowed a smaller movie like Skyman to sort of break through the noise of the media and really get some marketing attention where otherwise they've been buried with all the new releases that normally come out during the summer?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I think the #1 movie at the drive-in for the past several weeks has been The Wretched, which is a small indie horror film that I don't think would be ever #1 in any mainstream, theater chain. But I think this has given it the opportunity to stand out. And Skyman itself, though, is not a horror movie. The reason why I was brought on to this project was because of my, I guess I'll say, expertise or knowledge in the social media marketing kind of area. So horror is involved, so it's a horror movie. It's definitely a sci-fi deep dive look into this character of Carl. But yeah, what we did with Skyman, I think what proved difficult with the whole COVID-19 scenario is we weren't able to get out to as many places as we wanted to. Like Joe was talking about, we had plans to go to the Gasparilla Film Festival and all these big events. So we kind of laid heavily on the online marketing portion of it. The Skyman Facebook page, we got it up to 108,000 fans, and these were fans that were really engaged in just any topic having to do with aliens and UFOs. We started up our own alien and UFO groups where people just daily were always talking about things going on. And there was a lot of things going on regarding aliens and military videos being released. So it was kind of perfect timing in that relation. We were able to have a lot of real world content and tie it on top of Skyman, which deals with a lot of real world stories, alien abduction stories and things like that. It's nicely interwoven story with real life. So that's what we were able to kind of focus on our marketing online.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you asked that question.
No, I did. You answered it perfectly. So looking back at Dan's career, obviously people will know him from the Blair Witch Project, which, it's not often you get to work with a director who literally invented a genre, right? I mean, found footage did not exist before he created that with the rest of his team for Blair Witch. Blair Witch was an interesting film in that it was largely marketing driven. I mean, it's a good movie on its own right, but what made it catch fire was the marketing approach that they took at that time. How has marketing changed in the decades since the release of Blair Witch? Are things like the Facebook groups that you're creating, is that the new way to find audiences that wouldn't normally exist or have found this movie otherwise?
It definitely helps. I think you need to be involved in any kind of group or community that is related to the subject that you're trying to market, because that's where it's going to get legs, is these people buying into the product that you're selling and then sharing it with everybody. It's a lot different than what it was back when Dan did Blair Witch, to where you didn't have social media and so much access to find out if something's real or not. So you can't really do that same kind of marketing technique.
Yeah.
But I think that social media, in a way, if you do it properly and you have a product that is actually good, just side note, like what I tell people that want to post their work on iHorror, we have a fan base on Facebook of over 4.2 million fans. But if I post something on that thread that people don't want to see or don't care about, it's still only going to get 10 likes, maybe.
Yep.
Okay. Josh, we'll switch it over to you. Your background is in post and special effects. I think what people gravitated towards Blair Witch was the authenticity of the film. And having watched Skyman, it comes off as incredibly grounded, authentic. Even the small special effects that are sort of peppered throughout, particularly towards the end of the film, it all feels very real. What was the visual approach to the film, and how important was it to really capture that authentic look?
Oh, that's a good question. So I was brought on as assistant director originally, and so I was really there from the beginning to help Dan capture or just make the film happen. Obviously, you know what assistant director does, just do whatever I can to help make everything happen. So really just working hand in hand, and I had to have a really close relationship with Dan on all aspects. And early on, before the project started, we met at Joe's house just to over beers to chat about the feel and everything that he was going for. And he did mention, I think we started talking early on, that there may be a couple of VFX shots. And just the way he was talking about it, I knew Dan's somebody who just gets it. He understands what he's going for, and he knows how to accomplish it. Even sometimes he's just so kind of on the fly, and he'll say, oh, we're going to do this over here, we're going to do that over there. And I'm more of a planner, where I have I storyboard like all my movies, everything. So I'm like, and in my head, when I'm hearing him just winging it, I'm like, oh, is that going to work? You know, I was like, I don't know if that's going to work, but I'm with you. I'm here to help you. So he had a very grounded approach, obviously. And I learned as we went along just to really trust what he was doing and go with it. Cause he really just kind of, he knew this style of film, obviously from the Blair Witch, and he's probably, you know, others he's done. He knew what he was doing. And so we just kind of rolled with it, and I was just there to help. And in the end, the couple VFX shots that are in it work really well because they're so grounded, like you said, and just simple.
Yeah. What was it like having to film under the conditions that you guys were filming in? You mean you were out in the middle of nowhere in the desert? It couldn't have been easy. And I'll actually toss that both to Josh, Joe, and Anthony. Yeah.
I mean, I think it was awesome. I mean, being under the stars, making this film like on location was perfect. When the audience sees this film, they're going to notice like these two huge shipping containers. You know, we had to go purchase them. We hired a local from this Tampa Bay area to go out there, who is our production designer, who's done a lot of our films, Sean Carroll. He went out there ahead of time, and I initially went out with him, then came back, but he designed this world to feel authentic, like someone would live in these shipping containers. And we're out there for a couple of weeks, just camping out, having a good time, you know, just making a film and doing some hiking while we're not shooting, and really, you know, getting into that world, which I think helped, you know, because we were all in it. The crew was a small crew, but I think it helped bring like making the film feel authentic. And so, you know, when people see it, they'll notice that.
Yeah. Anyone else want to chime in on that?
I mean, it was a beautiful, beautiful location. And one thing I didn't know is how it would be like hot during the day, and then at night it was absolutely freezing. Like we were all huddled around the fireplace just trying to keep warm in between shots, which, I mean, you look back at it and you're like, good times, but during it, oh my God, it was cold.
It was cold.
As somebody who grew up in the desert, I can relate.
Yeah, I'll just third what those guys are saying. Being out there in that environment just added to I think it added to our experience, and then in turn added to the film, because we were really feeling kind of what the characters were feeling in that isolation out in the desert in this beautiful, I mean, there was like I've never seen so many stars at night. It was amazing. And so yeah,
that's great.
So go ahead. Laser pointer and show us the constellation. Yeah. It was cool.
Yeah, I think they were actually hitting, the laser pointer was hitting the stars at one point. Literally.
It is amazing once you get out of the city and you actually see the night sky for the first time. Yeah. So we're recording this on the 7th of July, which just happens to be the same day that Skyman is hitting VOD. So to wrap this interview up, Joe, you've had some really amazing reviews, particularly the New York Times is just very glowing about this film, which I'm sure feels gratifying. With the film launching today, what are you hoping audiences will connect with? And then end with a plug, where can people see it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you just mentioned, Jeanette at the New York Times, I mean, she titled it "Ready for an Alien Reunion," and I think if you go into this, an audience that is watching this is ready. Like Carl is ready, the main actor is ready for an alien reunion, and I Gen F and the New York Times hit it on the head. It's like, that's what people, you're going to feel, Carl's experience and ride with him along the way. It's available today on Amazon and all platforms, iTunes, Vudu, Google. There's so many different platforms out there nowadays. But we're so excited to release this now. I mean, the reviews have been outstanding. There's more coming in. Just, it's that crowd, like that Ancient Alien crowd, I think are going to love it. And going to drive-ins, I think I read one of the reviews that 17% of people have an experience, a UFO experience, and I didn't know that going into this. And so I think it's going to hit with a lot of different people. I think it's timely, if people want inspiration, and Carl, something happened to him as a kid, and it's come and he believes in it. And I think, all of us, things have happened to us as kids. And it sticks with you for life, right? And I think this really molded who Carl, our main character, is, and I think it's going to hit home with people. So,
all right. Well, with that, I appreciate you guys coming on and talking to me for a few minutes here. And for everyone watching at home, just go on your smart TV and search for Skyman. You'll definitely be able to find it. And we certainly encourage you to give it a watch. Having watched it myself, it's a fantastic film. And to the three of you, I really appreciate you guys being Bay Area residents and doing what you guys do to help bring film to the Bay Area. So thank you on behalf of the Film Commission and myself. Appreciate you guys, all the success in the world with Skyman and your future projects. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Tyler.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Check, 1, 2, 3.
State your name for camera, please.
My name is Carl Merriweather, and this is my sister Gina Campbell. Her last name is Campbell because she was married, but then she got divorced.
Okay.
And her husband's name was Carl too.
Carl, that's enough. That's too much information.
Sorry.
So, Carl, can you tell us how you became interested in UFOs?
To state it as clearly as I can, I was visited by one when I was a kid.
The skies above Apple Valley were filled with more than just clouds last night. News 6 lines were lighting up with reports of an alleged triangle-shaped UFO in the
Some local residents claim to have seen an unidentified flying object just after sunset last evening, with one young man even claiming to have been visited by what he describes as a Skyman.
He was tall and skinny. He didn't look human. I knew he wasn't a human. He said that he was looking for someone like me.
He has been so razor sharp focused, more than I've ever seen him. I guess I just figured he was finally ready to tell his story.
Here's the HGH.
I'm telling you, it was really, really loud. I was standing right here, and it was like, zzz. Are you too sure it was not you?
It couldn't have been. We were way over the hill by the beacon. What is it? It's our magnet, or what's left of it. It was propelled somehow.
Okay, so what? You really think that aliens did that?
I don't know what to think, Gina. All I know is something's going on, and I don't think it's human related. Arthur C. Clarke once said, "A sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic." And I've always liked magic.